Okay, so AI, it's everywhere these days, right? It feels like every time I turn around, there's some new headline about it.
Yeah.
But how much is hype? And how much is really, you know, changing the world as we know it?
That's the question, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, that's what we're diving into today with DeepSeek.
Absolutely.
This AI model developed in China that's got everyone buzzing.
Right. And for good reason. I mean, it really is.
Yeah. It's coming from, some major players in the Chinese AI scene.
Yeah.
And it has, the potential to impact pretty much every industry out there.
Absolutely. I mean, this is where things get really interesting when you start thinking about the implications and the possibilities. Because AI it's not just, a buzzword. It's about teaching computers to think and learn like we do. And that opens up so many bunches it's kind of hard to even grasp.
Yeah, when you say teaching them to learn, I mean, what does that actually look like with DeepSeek? Like, break it down for us. How is DeepSeek actually doing this learning?
Sure. So imagine you have this incredibly powerful brain, like a super brain, right?
Okay.
With all these interconnected neurons,
Okay.
and you feed it tons and tons of data. That's essentially what DeepSeek is doing. It uses what we call deep learning algorithms. These are like the instructions that allow it to find patterns and connections in all of this data it's given.
So it's more than just, like those chat bots we see popping up everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
This is where DeepSeek kind of sets itself apart. You've got models like GPT or BERT that are amazing at generating text and having conversations, but DeepSeek is different. It's less about creating something new and more about understanding the meaning behind all sorts of information, like images, text, audio, you name it.
So all kinds of data. So what can it actually do? I mean, how does this translate into something that, we can see and use?
Right. Well, think of things like image recognition. DeepSeek can look at a picture and not just tell you what it sees, but understand the context, the emotions, even the relationships between the elements in the image. Or natural language processing, being able to understand and respond to human language in a way that's much more nuanced than just, basic commands.
Right.
And then search optimization. You know how frustrating it can be to search for something online and get a bunch of irrelevant results? DeepSeek has the potential to completely change that by understanding what you actually mean, not just the words you typed.
So it's almost like having a personal assistant that can anticipate your needs before you even know what they are.
Pretty much. And it's not just, making things easier or more convenient. This kind of AI has the potential to improve accuracy in medical diagnoses, make online search results way more relevant, and even boost cybersecurity by detecting threats in real time.
Okay, so you keep mentioning machine learning. Like, that's the magic behind all of this.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people like me hear that term and kind of glaze over. What is machine learning in plain English? How does it actually work?
Sure. So imagine you want to teach a kid how to ride a bike right. You don't just give them a textbook on physics and expect them to figure it out. You show them how you do it, you let them practice, you give them feedback, and they learn through experience. That's kind of how machine learning works. We give computers examples to learn from, and then they use algorithms to find patterns and make predictions based on that data.
Ah, so it's about patterns. Okay.
Exactly. And there are different types of machine learning, like supervised learning, where we give the computer labeled data and tell it what's what, or reinforcement learning, where the AI learns by trial and error, kind of like playing a video game and getting rewards for doing well.
Interesting. So it's not just one thing. It's a whole bunch of different approaches working together.
Right. And the beauty of it is that the more data these systems are exposed to, the better they get at learning and improving their performance.
So how does all this translate to, real world applications? What are some industries or businesses that could really benefit from using something like DeepSeek?
Oh gosh, so many. Healthcare is a big one. Like imagine DeepSeek being able to analyze medical images like x-rays or scans and help doctors diagnose diseases earlier and more accurately. That could be a game changer.
Yeah, for sure. What about other fields?
Well, e-commerce obviously is huge. We all shop online, and DeepSeek could take personalization to a whole new level, like recommending products you actually want, not just, stuff you've already bought before.
That would be a welcome change.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us are tired of seeing the same ads over and over again.
Exactly. And then robotics. Robots are becoming more and more common in factories and warehouses, and DeepSeek could make them even more efficient, helping them to optimize tasks, avoid obstacles, and even learn new skills on the fly.
Okay, so we've talked about healthcare, e-commerce, robotics. But what about some of those really complex problems we face as a society? Things like improving search engine results or combating cyber threats. Can DeepSeek play a role there?
Oh, absolutely. Like think about search engines. Right now, they're mostly based on keywords. But DeepSeek could actually understand the intent behind your search.
Right.
Like if you search for best coffee shops, it could factor in things like your location, the time of day, your past preferences, and give you results that are truly relevant to what you're looking for.
That would be a huge improvement.
Right. And then cybersecurity. DeepSeek could be used to analyze massive amounts of data in real time, looking for patterns of suspicious activity. That can help us stay one step ahead of hackers and prevent cyber attacks before they even happen.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and another area where DeepSeek could make a big difference is in optimizing supply chains. With all the disruptions we've seen lately, a system that can predict problems and adapt to changing conditions could be incredibly valuable.
So are there any specific companies or initiatives that are already using DeepSeek? Because I'm particularly curious about, its use in finance or government.
Yeah, well, there are a few companies we know of that are exploring its capabilities. And as for government use, it's a little bit more hush-hush, how it is. But we're hearing rumors that it's being tested for things like urban planning and traffic management.
Interesting. So it really does seem like DeepSeek has the potential to, touch almost every aspect of our lives.
Yeah, I mean, it's still early days, but the possibilities are definitely there.
But of course, with any powerful technology, there are always ethical questions that come up.
Oh, for sure.
So what are some of the concerns surrounding DeepSeek specifically?
Well, privacy is a big one. DeepSeek needs massive amounts of data to function effectively, and that raises questions about who controls that data, how it's being used, and what safeguards are in place to protect people's privacy.
Yeah, and I imagine data security is another concern.
Absolutely. What happens if that data falls into the wrong hands? Could it be used for malicious purposes? These are things we have to think about.
And then there's the whole issue of AI bias.
Right. If DeepSeek is trained on biased data, it could perpetuate those biases in its decision making, and that could have, serious consequences. So ensuring that the data sets used to train these models are diverse and representative is crucial.
Absolutely. And, DeepSeek being developed in China adds another layer to this conversation.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there are specific concerns about how AI could be used for things like surveillance or social control in a more authoritarian context. And those concerns are definitely valid and need to be addressed.
So what are some of the debates or controversies happening there versus, globally?
Well, in China specifically, there's a lot of discussion around the use of facial recognition technology and the potential for mass surveillance. Globally, the conversation is more focused on things like misinformation, the spread of fake news, and the potential for AI to be used to manipulate people's opinions.
Right. And those are all very real concerns.
They are. And then, of course, there's the whole issue of job displacement. As AI becomes more sophisticated, there's a fear that it will automate away many jobs that are currently done by humans.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah.
So what can be done to mitigate these risks? I mean, what role do regulations and oversight play in all of this?
Well, that's where things get tricky. Because AI is developing so rapidly that regulations are often struggling to keep up.
Right.
But there are definitely things that can be done, like promoting transparency in AI development, making sure that the algorithms and data sets being used are open to scrutiny, and establishing clear ethical guidelines for how AI should be used.
So it's not just a technological issue, it's a societal one.
Exactly. We need to have a broader conversation about the role we want AI to play in our lives and what kind of future we want to create with this technology.
Well, this has been an incredible deep dive into the world of DeepSeek. It's clear that this technology has the potential to, revolutionize so many aspects of our lives, but it also comes with some serious ethical considerations.
Absolutely.
So for our listeners out there, I want to leave you with a question to ponder. How comfortable are you with AI playing an increasingly larger role in your life? And what safeguards would you like to see put in place to ensure that AI is used responsibly and ethically?
It's something we all need to be thinking about.
It is. And we'll continue to explore these questions and more in our future deep dives into the world of technology. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.